Can the birthplace of a person dictate their life's journey? For Steve Biko, his hometown was the starting line of a race against racial prejudice. Born on a hot summer's day, the 18th of December in 1946, in the humble town of King Williamstown, South Africa, Biko entered a world shadowed by a monstrous system of racial segregation and discrimination, apartheid. His early life was a stark testament to the oppressive regime that sought to divide and conquer based on the color of one's skin. The apartheid system was not just a political policy, it was a daily reality that permeated every facet of life. It was the air that Biko breathed, the society he navigated, and the challenge he would rise to meet head-on. Biko's youth was marred by the harsh reality of apartheid, a system that would become his life's greatest adversary. College years often shape our worldview. For Biko, it was a time of political awakening. As a young man, Stephen Bantu Biko found himself in the midst of the oppressive apartheid regime, a system that enforced racial segregation and discrimination. It was here, in this crucible of struggle and injustice, that Biko's political consciousness began to take root. While attending medical school, Biko joined the National Union of South African Students, a prominent student organization. This was a significant move, marking his entry into the world of student activism. Biko was not just a member but a leader, his voice echoing in the halls of power, advocating for non-racialism and equal rights. But over time he grew disillusioned with the organization. Biko's dissatisfaction with NUSAS stemmed from its perceived lack of focus on the specific issues facing Black South Africans. He felt that the organization was not doing enough to address the racial discrimination and inequality that were deeply entrenched in South African society. This growing disillusionment sparked a flame within Biko, a flame that would soon ignite a movement. It was during these formative years that Biko began to envision a different kind of movement, one that would center the struggles and aspirations of Black South Africans. He wanted to create an organization that was by the people, for the people. An organization that was not just about political activism but also about psychological liberation. Biko believed that Black people needed to overcome the psychological effects of oppression and embrace their worth and capabilities. The seeds of what would become the Black consciousness movement were sown during this time. Biko's vision was one of self-reliance, Black pride, and resistance against apartheid. He sought to inspire Black South Africans to define and assert their own identity and struggle. And so the groundwork for a new era of activism was laid. Biko's student years were a crucible, forging his resolve to create an organization that truly represented the struggles of Black South Africans. His journey was just beginning, and the world was about to witness the awakening of a leader. In times of great strife, new movements arise. Such was the birth of the Black consciousness movement. In the late 60s, a young Steve Biko recognized a need for change. He had grown frustrated with the National Union of South African Students, believing it was not effectively addressing the issues faced by Black South Africans. This dissatisfaction led him to establish the South African Students Organization, or SASO, in 1968. SASO was a catalyst for change, a platform for Black students to voice their concerns and aspirations. But it was more than just a student organization, it was the seed from which the Black consciousness movement would grow. Under Biko's leadership, SASO evolved into a broader social movement, one that sought to address the systemic racism and inequality entrenched in South African society. The Black Consciousness Movement, or BCM, was a radical departure from the existing anti-apartheid efforts. It emphasized self-reliance, Black pride, and resistance against the oppressive apartheid regime. At its heart was the idea that Black South Africans needed to define their own identity, to break away from the shackles of racial stereotypes, and to assert their worth in a society that sought to diminish it. Biko's role in the BCM was pivotal. He was not just a leader, he was an emblem of Black pride and defiance. His speeches, writings, and actions echoed the principles of the movement, inspiring many to join the fight against apartheid. Biko believed in psychological liberation, in the need for Black South Africans to overcome the mental effects of oppression, and to recognize their inherent worth and capabilities. The BCM was a significant turning point in the struggle against apartheid. It was a movement that challenged the status quo, that dared to envision a South Africa free from racial discrimination. It was a movement that empowered Black South Africans to stand up for their rights, to resist oppression, and to strive for equality. The BCM was more than a movement, it was a beacon of hope, illuminating the path towards racial equality. Activism often comes with a hefty price. For Biko, it was his freedom. In the tumultuous year of 1977, the South African authorities arrested Biko under the Formidable Terrorism Act. This law, a terrifying tool of the apartheid regime, allowed the government to detain individuals without trial. The allegations, inciting fear, causing unrest and challenging the status quo, crimes that, in reality, were nothing more than a passionate pursuit of justice and equality. Biko found himself confined within the cold, stark walls of a prison cell, a stark contrast to the world he had dreamed of, a world free from segregation, discrimination, and racial prejudice. His voice, once resonating with the powerful message of Black consciousness, was now stifled, muffled by the oppressive hand of apartheid. Yet the horrors didn't stop at his unjust imprisonment. While in detention, Biko was subjected to brutal treatment and torture, the details of which were as harrowing as they were inhumane. The apartheid regime sought to break his spirit, to diminish the beacon of hope that he had become for Black South Africans. But Biko was not so easily silenced. On the 12th of September 1977, the world woke to the shocking news of Biko's death. He was just 30 years old. The brutality of his treatment in detention had led to his untimely demise, a tragic end to a life dedicated to the fight for freedom and equality. The circumstances surrounding Biko's death sparked international outrage, casting a harsh spotlight on the atrocities committed by the apartheid regime. His death was not in vain. It served as a catalyst, prompting a global outcry against the systematic oppression in South Africa, and bolstering the resolve of those committed to dismantling the apartheid regime. Biko's death was a tragic loss, but it also served as a stark reminder of the brutalities of the apartheid regime. His sacrifice continues to echo in the hearts of activists worldwide, a solemn testament to the price of activism, but also a resounding call to continue the fight for justice and equality. In death, some people become larger than life. Steve Biko is one such figure. His legacy, born out of an unyielding spirit and commitment to justice, resonates far beyond the borders of South Africa. His work, his activism, and his sacrifice have left an indelible mark on the world, inspiring generations of activists and human rights defenders. Steve Biko's principles were rooted in the belief that Black South Africans should define and assert their own identity. He championed the idea of psychological liberation, the need for Black people to overcome the mental chains of oppression, to embrace their worth, their capabilities, and their dignity. This was not just a philosophy for South Africa, it became a beacon for marginalized communities worldwide. The Black consciousness movement, which he founded, promoted self-reliance, Black pride, and resistance against apartheid. It ignited a flame of resistance in the hearts of Black South Africans, encouraging them to challenge the oppressive apartheid system. These principles continue to hold relevance today, as societies worldwide grapple with issues of racial injustice and inequality. Biko's death, a result of brutal treatment and torture while in police detention, sparked international outrage. It shed light on the brutality of the apartheid regime, galvanizing global solidarity against the oppressive system. His untimely demise at the tender age of 30 did not silence his voice, instead, it amplified it. His martyrdom became a rallying cry for freedom, equality, and human dignity. Today, Steve Biko's legacy continues to inspire. His life and activism played a crucial role in shaping the anti-apartheid movement, challenging not just a system but an ideology of racial superiority. His name is etched in the annals of history, not just as a martyr, but as a visionary leader whose courage and conviction continue to guide those championing for social justice and equality. Biko's legacy is a testament to his unyielding spirit and commitment to justice. Even in death, his voice continues to inspire the ongoing struggle for equality and human dignity.